everybody, and welcome to another Cricut Craft tutorial. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays with the occasional bonus live video. Today we're going to talk about all the different terms that you need to learn when you're working with your Cricut and other crafts. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the SVG, and what that stands for is Scalable Vector Graphic, which basically means that it is a very high quality image. The thing with the SVG is that it can come layered, where it's already ready to cut, or it can just be a single layer where it isn't going to have any cuts on it whatsoever. So I'm going to show you an example of two different kinds of SVGs.
Both of these images are SVGs. However, one you can see is just made in one single layer, and this one is for print then cut, and this is Nala. And then you can see the Marie cat. She is in multiple layers, and she is made to cut in each color, so she could be cut out of cardstock, vinyl, whatever you'd like to cut her out of, and she'll cut in separate pieces, where Nala will not do that. You would have to print her out in order for her to come across colored.
The next thing we're going to talk about is the PNG, which is a portable network graphic, and that is a high quality image, and it is not layered for cuts. Most of them will have a transparent background, and I will show you a PNG.
This is an example of a PNG, and it is set to print because it is not an SVG that is layered. But you can see that the background is transparent. I changed the color of my canvas so that you could see the transparent background. PNGs typically will have the transparent background, but you won't be able to cut them in different colors, but they're great for print and cut if you wanted to print and cut each individual word.
Vector image. This is a smooth image, not made with pixels like a JPEG or some of those less quality images. Scale, or Sure Cuts a Lot, is a program that a lot of people talk about when speaking about the older machines, like the Cricut Expression. It's a program that you can purchase from a second-hand party, and it will allow you to cut on your older machines things that are not part of the cartridges. Inkscape is a free design program that you can download, and you can use this with Cricut and Silhouette, and you can make SVGs. There is a bit of a learning curve for it. I recommend checking out TroyTube on YouTube for some really great tutorials. I will link his channel below. Layering is when you would take one color and put it on top of another color. This can be done with both adhesive and with heat transfer vinyl. I'm going to show you a couple examples of layering.
Layering is when you place different colors of vinyl, whether it be HTV, adhesive, or cardstock even, on top of each other. That is layering. Slicing is when you remove the layers underneath, and that way you're not having multiple layers on top of each other, so think of it like a layered cake. So with this one, we have different layers, and I'm going to ungroup it so you guys can see. But the bottom black layer is all one big piece, and then you would lay your pink, your blue, and your white on top of the black. That is layering.
Kern or kerning is referred to when it comes to spacing of your letters. So when people tell you you need to kern your letters are typically going to be too far apart.
Kerning your letters in Design Space is very, very easy. All you need to do is use your letter spacing, and you can just click the down arrow and it will space your letters closer together. If for some reason you're unhappy with the way they're spaced, doing it this way, if maybe a letter's too far away from another one, you can absolutely go over and ungroup them, which is up here at the top, right under the word layers, and you can move each letter individually. My Design Space is a little bit laggy this morning, so it may take a second for it to actually want to move my letters, but you can just physically click on a letter and move it. I don't know why it's being such a pain. This is the new Design Space for desktop. And it has been really, really laggy with this kerning and moving of my letters once I've ungrouped them.
People use the term burnish or burnishing a lot, and all that means is to take your transfer tape or your vinyl and to press down on it, applying pressure so that either the transfer tape sticks to your vinyl or your vinyl sticks to your surface. Weed or weeding refers to removing parts of your cut that you do not need, so your negative parts on your vinyl or your cardstock. Reverse weeding is when you take your entire image, including all of the sheet, and you place it on your transfer tape, and you remove the negative parts that you do not want off of the transfer tape rather than off of the backing. Subtract. A lot of people get this confused with knockout. Subtract is different, as with the subtract, you have no space between your two images. I'm going to show you guys an example of a subtract.
This here is an example of a subtract, and it is different from a knockout because we don't have any space between the letters and our image, which in this case is this lightning bolt, and here are your words. So this is the big difference between the two of them. And when you place them on the shirt, you just line them up, and you can put them like this, or you can do these as a decal, however you want to do them. But this one is a subtract.
Knockout is like a subtract, but you're going to have space around your images or your letters between each other. I'll show you guys an example of a knockout.
This is an example of a knockout. You can tell because it has all this white space between the words and the large word. Knockout just means that you have removed some part of your image and then placed a smaller image inside of it.
Group or grouping is used in design space, and in the design space case, it's to bring items together for easy resizing. There's no need to group before cutting. It actually has no bearing on your cutting. If you want your items to stay in place, you'll use attach, and we'll discuss attach in just a minute. Slice. This is to completely remove a piece of an image, and you can only use it with two things. So if you have a word, you need to make sure that you weld your word and only select one part in the word.
Slice is removing one shape or item from another item. So we're going to use the heart and star that we welded and just cut a circle out of them. So what you do is you place your circle over your item, you select both, and you click slice. But remember, you can only slice two items at a time. So you need to make sure that if you're using words, your words have been welded together. And you'll see here we now have a circle in the middle of our heart and star, and that is how you use slice.
Weld, and you'll see weld a lot, and what weld does is it removes cut lines from your image. So whether you're trying to put two shapes together or two images together or letters together, that's what weld is for, and I'll show you an example of weld.
Weld is used to remove cut lines. You will see weld used mostly when people discuss cursive fonts. This is Magnolia Sky, and if you look closely, you can see where there is a cut line right here in between each of the letters. So what you want to do is select the entire word, and down here at the bottom, you're going to click Weld. And what Weld does is it gets rid of all those little cut lines, and it's all going to cut as one piece. You can use that with your heart and your star as well. We can go ahead and detach them, and what you're going to do is just put one on top of the other wherever you want it to sit. You're going to select both of the items, and you're going to click on Weld. And that just makes them, again, one piece. But remember, once you save what you have welded, you cannot undo it.
Attach. You use this to keep your items in place, or you can also use it to change all of your items to the same color.
For attach, what that does is hold your items in place. So if I specifically want my heart to be under my star, if I click make it right now, it's going to move my pieces, and it'll put them with whatever way saves the most vinyl. But if you specifically want the way that they are placed on your mat or on your canvas and for them to cut the right way, you're going to select both of them, and down here at the bottom, you're going to click attach. Think of attach as like using a piece of tape to hold your item on your mat.
Contour is when you can remove pieces of your design while keeping the rest of your design intact. This is a great tool for if you want to take an image or words and make parts of it different colors. Flatten is used for print, then cut. Flatten basically tells the design space and your machine that it's all one piece. So think of it like taking two pieces of Play-Doh and squishing them together, and they become one piece.
Flatten is only used for print, then cut. So we have all of this set to print, and we're just going to set it on top of the mason jar. And if we were to go and do this right now, it would just jumble everything up and print them in separate spaces. So you need to make sure that you select everything, and you're going to first attach them, and then you're going to use flatten. Think of flatten like making everything a one single piece. There are no edges to cut around, that kind of idea, and that is how you use flatten. Again, flatten is only for print, then cut.
Print. People confuse print and cut a lot, and this is definitely something that you want to make sure you're very accurate on so that people can give you help when you're asking a question. Print actually is something you would use and send to your outside printer to print on color paper or to print out whatever you're looking for, that would be to print. Cut. Also a lot of times confused with print. What cutting is when you take your vinyl or your cardstock and you put it directly to your machine before doing anything else, and your machine cuts a shape or words or a design onto that product.
People use the term print and cut very interchangeably, but can be very confusing if someone is trying to help you. So we're going to show you just a quick breakdown. So a cut is this one down here where it's all gray, it's all one color, it's very, very simple, and you can always see what it's set to right over here where it says cut. This one is a print then cut, and again you can see it over here, it's very colorful, it's all just one layer, and when you go to click make it, you'll get this screen first, which has the black box around it, which means that's the print and then cut. And then this one, which is just the plain colored one on your mat already with no black box around it, that is your cut.
651 and 631. 651 people use interchangeably to mean permanent vinyl. However, the 651 you will only find on the Oracal brand product, same with the 631. 631 is a removable vinyl. You will see people refer to 631 for removable vinyl as well, but keep in mind you will only find those denoted on Oracal branded products. So when you get an Oracal sheet like this one, you will see on the back it states 651. On any other brand, you will not see those numbers. You'll have to read the packaging. Oracal. This is a brand of vinyl. They make 651, 631, and a whole bunch of other types, but the most common that you will see is 631 and 651. HTV, it stands for Heat Transfer Vinyl. It can also be called iron-on, and that is a vinyl that you would put on your fabrics, and it is a softer vinyl than you would find with a permanent or any adhesive vinyl. Printed patterned. This typically refers to a type of vinyl, which can be both adhesive or HTV. What it means is it is a pattern, actually part of your vinyl versus just a plain color, and these can come, like I said, in both a permanent vinyl and an HTV. Carrier sheet. This refers to the plastic sheet that is on top of your HTV. Most HTV will come with this already on top of it, and some that don't, you will need to get heat transfer mask, which you can purchase, and this is good for using on a printed vinyl, the printed HTV, and also on the printed patterned vinyl. Transfer tape. This is a sticky plastic that you use to transfer your decals or your designs to your blanks. This is an actual transfer tape. Many people will recommend using contact paper. That's not recommended. It does leave a sticky residue if you leave it on your vinyl too long. And this is a really nice product. It's medium tack by Caesar. E6000, this is an industrial strength glue, and it's recommended for a lot of different projects, especially things where like hot melt glue may not work. It comes in a tube. It is not real expensive, but it is very powerful, so you want to be very careful when using it. But when people say E6000, it is an actual glue brand, and this is what it looks like. You can get this at most of your craft stores, on Amazon. I will link it below. So there you go. I hope you guys had a good time learning about the different terms that everybody should know when using a Cricut. If you guys have any questions or maybe some terms that weren't in this video that you'd like to know the definition for, let me know in the comments down below. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting!